Hello?
What's up, girl? What happened after Tony dumped you?
Girl, I'm over it. I went from heartbreak to hate.
Oi, Joy.
Oi, Bob. See, it doesn't work as well. I have to figure out, something that I can say.
I don't know very many words that rhyme with Bob.
Mob?
Job. Lob.
I was going to say, now we're just going to go through the alphabet.
Fob.
Sob.
Because you know what fob would be? Fuck off, Bob. There you go. That's a free one.
Okay.
So today we're talking about...
Badass women.
Ooh, badass women in movies or televised movies.
Or in televised
TV movies.
I got you. Yes, so let me start us off.
Ooh.
Let's go back to the 80s.
Ladies first. Ladies choice.
That's right. So let me take you back to the 80s and to this character. Her name is Sheena.
Sheena.
You know about Sheena.
I know about Sheena. I can't
our listeners
fake like I
may
don't.
not know about Sheena.
Right.
Sheena is this amazingly horrible movie. It's like a good B. It's like a good bad movie. It's like one of those B movies
It's
that
a
you're
B
like,
movie.
it's a B movie for sure. But this poor white girl, parents get killed in Africa, and she grows up, with a tribe, and like she has this special ability to call animals by basically holding her hand up to her forehead.
Which was based on a comic book.
Right.
Yeah.
But just so much better if you don't know that and you think somebody thought this up for a movie. You're like, what in the world is going on? And anyways, of course, then there's like this, evil people want to come in and destroy the forests and everything. And so she used her powers to save the day. And, I just remember when I was like 5-6 years old, I wanted to be Sheena, and I used to do that. I would hold my hand up to my forehead and pretend that I could call an elephant or some shit.
You actually still do that when you get angry sometimes.
I'm trying to call something. I'm like, ooh, I'm
now
gonna
do
call.
you realize you do that?
I do.
You're calling the elephant down.
I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna call the biggest animal I can think of and run this person over.
Right.
But yeah, no, she was a true badass. I mean, we're
that
not
was
gonna
Tanya
get
Roberts.
Tanya
for those
Roberts
questioning Tanya
in the
Roberts.
80s.
Yes.
So we're not gonna get into the woke or non-wokeness of the movie. We're just gonna get into the true character was a badass.
I mean, because it's more shocking to see a white person in a jungle. Obviously, we wouldn't have the Tarzans of the world. But Sheena, Tanya Roberts was later Charlie's Angels. If y'all don't know who she was, she was beautiful as hell. She has amazing eyes, but that's nothing to do with it. But obviously, beautiful white woman in the jungle.
Right.
Stark contrast to the rest of the movie, but. Sheena.
But her character, genuinely cared about where she grew up and, just didn't want to see it destroyed and cared about her. She grew up with these people, so she considered them her people. You know what I mean? And so she's a true badass character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. Sheena.
Sheena.
All right. So I guess my first badass person, and I'm pretty much going to stick in the 80s probably. Just that's where my reference of badass women comes from. But I would say Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Okay, yes. Taking us into horror.
Character is played by Caroline Williams. Her name is Stretch. She is a late night radio DJ host.
Uh-oh, wait a minute.
Who gets entangled into the world of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre killers when someone calls in to her as they're being killed on the radio.
Wow.
And she plays it back over the air because she's trying to get the killers to come out as a trap for the killers. Oh. And instead, they come for her. And hilarity and horror. It's pretty funny. That movie is funny to me. I crack up that movie. Yeah. Anyway. So, Stretch. So it's kind of I don't know. I met Caroline Williams a few years ago, and I just told her, when I was a kid, I hadn't seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre because Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 came out when I was 10, 11, something like that. So I saw that one first, and I was just enamored with her character because she was there's good points. I don't know. She's definitely a heroine in that movie. So
good. I love it. Now I'll have to watch that one because
I know
I've
we'll
only
have to
seen
watch
the
it.
original. Yeah, we should watch that together.
I mean, I just watched it a couple months ago, but that's one of those movies I'll watch any day. So.
Really fast. Let's see. Another 80s character, Watts from Some Kind of Wonderful.
Oh yeah.
So Watts is pretty cool because, she's a drummer.
Yeah.
She wears whatever she wants. This is like in the late 80s
Right.
that this comes out, and she, at one point I think makes a reference to her mom being like a plumber or something. So she's just like a true feminist when there weren't a lot of characters that were like that, especially in the 80s. They were all super girly.
Right.
Like the Leah Thompson character in that movie. They were all, that was like the ideal, the Molly Ringwald of it all.
And I remember a lot of people thinking that her character was a lesbian. But not because she's in love.
Yeah, just a strong woman, just, had her own beliefs and, she just wasn't a bullshitter. I think that's really what I loved about her. She was like, gonna tell the truth. I mean, she didn't want to tell her crush the truth, but you know what I mean? Like, she was just like, she wasn't here to suffer fools. You know what I mean? And she was just like, I don't understand why you love somebody who's so flaky and ridiculous. Like, why don't you want something that's real?
And she had the short cut hair within the 80s at the moment was getting into that heavy metal super bang of it all. So she was definitely a big juxtaposition to other women in movies at the time. And I mean, just a lady drummer.
Yes, and like she went in. She was like practicing. She was serious.
Yes.
She's like, I'm not playing games. I'm here for this.
She has a bandana.
She had those gloves with the fringe of it all.
Yeah, amazing gloves. And she was in love with Eric Stoltz.
Which we're going to forgive her for. It's not her fault.
We'll forgive her. I mean, Eric Stoltz is pretty cute, but...
He is, but his character in that movie was such an idiot. So weak.
So weak.
Maybe that's what happens is opposites attract. She's so strong. She's like, I'll just take somebody weak and I'll just mold you into what I need you to be.
But I mean, it's Mary Stuart Masterson. So Mary Stuart Masterson is an amazing actress. She has like done amazing movies.
Yeah.
And I think she's one of those actresses that people don't give enough credit to, but she's a great actress.
True.
Sad teardrops.
Teardrops. We love you, Mary.
We love you, Mary. I know she's still making shows and movies to this day, but fame fleets for those that are young.
Yeah.
And so...
Your next person?
Jennifer Rubin.
Okay.
Jennifer Rubin from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
I love me the Nightmare on Elm Street series, so yes.
The Dream Warriors.
That's my favorite.
She is her dream warriorness is she's beautiful and bad. She plays Taryn, who is a junkie who you're supposed to believe is not as attractive as Jennifer Rubin really is, because Jennifer Rubin was like, I don't know, she was like not Miss America, but like some kind of, she was a fashion model. She was everything before she was an actress. So it's like you're supposed to believe that she's not pretty. But I don't know, just her attitude is in the movie. And if you're not familiar with the setting of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, they're in a mental institution for teenagers. And everyone there has these dreams of Freddy Krueger, obviously. And her whole attitude throughout the movie is kind of like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you. And, but me.
That speaks to your spirit.
That speaks to my spirit.
She's your spirit animal.
Absolutely. And Jennifer Rubin told me that she was going to put me in one of her movies once.
Oh, did she?
She was really high when she told me, but...
Was this at one of the horror conventions?
Yeah, I had lime green hair, facial hair. That's when I had like my beard and mustache and eyebrow. Everything was like lime green, and she was like, I'm making this movie about weed, and I just want you to be in every scene in the background. And I'm like, okay. And she took my phone number, email, everything, but never heard from you, Jennifer. And here I am, still loving you to this day.
Regardless of your lives.
Yeah. But
no, I do remember she was like a pretty bad. And I loved that part of I love the whole series. I've watched all 9,000 of them, but I do love that particular one with the Dream Warriors.
Yes.
The Dream,
That's my favorite. I've watched it thousands of times. I cannot tell you how many times I've watched it. So who else you got for me?
Who else do I got for you? Let's see. I'm going to move on to, I think also still in the 80s, late 80s. I'm going to bring up a movie and most people aren't going to know.
Ooh.
Black Widow. I looked it up, 1987.
Ooh, that's actually a really good year for movies. Either the movies were horrible or movies were good. So.
Deborah Winger, Teresa Russell.
Teresa Russell is the truth of it all. They're both great characters, okay, because Deborah Winger is this cop who's really trying to catch this woman, Teresa Russell, who, listen, not all badasses are true good heroines.
But Teresa Russell is still a badass because what her character does in this movie is she marries men and then she kills them so she can have their money, and she moves on to the next. She gets a new identity.
So a true Black Widow.
A true Black Widow. Just zero feeling about the situation. This is just what she does. She studies the men, figures out what they're going to like, changes her look, and then she figures out how to poison them and everything. And Deborah Winger's on the case. She's trying to catch this woman.
Deborah Winger is always on the case in the 80s.
That's
always.
true.
Either she's dying or she's on the case.
I was going to say, that's the other thing she does. She does a lot of dying.
Poor Deborah Winger.
Oh, poor thing.
And I love Teresa Russell. She's in one of my favorite movies, and it's a movie called Whore, and it's about her as a prostitute, and it's a Ken Russell movie, and I love that movie. I think I watched it again last year. I think it was something like that. That was from it was from '91.
Okay.
But my thing with Teresa Russell is I don't think she was ever as famous as she should have been, because she is similar to Kathleen Turner, even though Teresa Russell has been acting since the mid '70s. She was in Tenebrae, which is a horror movie that I love, and she was in what the hell was that movie? It was some kind of no, I can't remember what it was. It was some kind of weird set in the South law movie, but she was in lots of good movies. But I think that Kathleen Turner came along, and she has that just a little more raspier of a voice.
Yes.
A little bit more sophisticated, maybe put together a little bit more. And I don't know. I think Teresa Russell lost out in that, unfortunately. But
she did, because I loved her too.
Yeah, Kathleen Turner is amazing too. But Teresa Russell and Black Widow, yes.
It's such a good movie. If you have not seen it, please go find it at your local library, because that's probably what it's going to take.
And it's probably going to be in VHS, so you might want to go buy a VCR or time machine. You might a time machine back to Showtime in the early '90s might be an easier way to watch that movie.
Maybe somebody's put it on YouTube. I don't know.
It might be on YouTube. I mean, I actually think it's on DVD, because I think we had it, so I think it's actually on DVD.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, give us another horror movie. I know it's coming.
Horror movie. So let's see.
It doesn't have to be, but you know.
No. So my next person is Adrienne Barbeau in anything. Literally anything. Adrienne Barbeau is always a badass. She's always doesn't take shit from any kind of man. She kind of exudes sexuality a little bit without being being that sexual type person. That's just kind of she definitely is, perky and mean and all those things that people can be in between. And she's a varied actress. I mean, she's not always the same character.
Okay.
Plus, not to harp on it, but she was in The Fog, in which she played a late night radio DJ host.
That's the theme. Did you just look up women that play radio hosts?
I don't need to look it up.
Oh, okay.
No, that's when I got into radio. It was my dream to be Adrienne Barbeau.
Okay.
I mean, there would have been some breast augmentation needed, some different hair, but no, I definitely love some Adrienne Barbeau. She's always a badass, even if she's not even.
What are some of her more well-known movies that kids can watch?
Well, I mean, The Fog. She was in the original Swamp Thing movie.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's a childhood '80s
yeah,
movie.
It is.
Yeah, there's all kinds of Adrienne Barbeau, Escape from L.A. Escape from New York. Now I'm gonna draw a blank on everything. Just Adrienne Barbeau.
Okay, there it is, Adrienne Barbeau.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah. There's, of course. I mean, I have a long list, so our show is going to be shorter than that. Now I'm going to take us into the early '90s. I feel, with Linda Hamilton playing Sarah Connor in Terminator 2. Terminator 2, because Terminator 1, Sarah Connor is just she's like a regular woman, and she does a lot of screaming and
she's helpless.
She's helpless.
Yes.
But what you gotta love is her character when she knows the future's ending. She knows all this truth. Now we fast forward, and she has turned herself into a badass. She does pull-ups. You know what I mean? She's knows all about guns and everything, and she's no fate but what you make. Yeah, I don't feel that I have to expand much more on that. It's just
she's complete badass.
Yeah, complete badass. I don't even.
And I mean,
she's a short one. We don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to get into a long discussion on it because it's literally a point in pop culture where people reference the badass of Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't know. Did that hinder her anymore? I mean,
it did, and I remember reading about that she only got offered like lesbian characters and things like that after she had beefed up because it was still a primitive time, and so people figured once you had muscles and stuff, you couldn't do much else.
Right. But I mean, there's somebody you're going to talk about later who's always been like a muscular framed woman, so we'll talk about that when we get to it. But mine next one is a fan favorite.
Okay.
A fan being both of us.
Yes.
And that is Helen Slater in Legend of Billie Jean.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I can't believe that wasn't on my list.
I know. I thought that's why I had to bring it up.
Listen, it was hard. It was man.
Because I was going to say Helen Slater and Supergirl too. I will say Supergirl as well. So Helen Slater in general, but Legend of Billie Jean.
Yes. Fair is fair.
Fair is fair, which is a very pro-woman, don't take men's shit
Not
movie.
even a little bit. Not gonna take it.
There was sexual harassment involved. There's a wrecking of a beautiful scooter.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of stuff. And then the cutting of the hair and the embodiment of Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc.
So like the whole movie is amazing.
It is.
It's 80s trash amazing, but it has a good message.
It does. I don't know about the trash part, but
come on.
I know. The problem is if you didn't see it then and you saw it now, you would judge it. You would judge it hard. But it was amazing. Then it was a gift to us. It was nectar that we needed.
Yeah, no, I mean it's amazing. If you didn't know that Yeardley Smith, the voice of Lisa Simpson, she was in it as a young girl. She is Putter.
Yes, Potter.
Yeah. And I'm a my woman now. Like when she gets her period during a gunfight.
Yes.
Like it's pretty amazing.
So much good in that show. There's so much good in that movie.
Yeah. So Christian Slater is in it.
Yes.
He's her.
I know how you feel about that.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a crossover. So when the people in the pickup truck pick her up towards the end. The woman is Caroline Williams, who was Stretch in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Really?
Boom. So,
uh-oh, watch out.
And so Caroline Williams is in that movie as well. So there's some crossover for your ass.
Wonderful.
And then Keith Gordon, who's in it, who's the love interest. And I don't know why people in the 80s thought he was like super cute.
There were a lot of guys that people were here for in the 80s that were questionable at best.
I think it's just that they were like, oh, they're a real actor, so they don't care what they look like.
Yeah.
Because the 80s was all about visual. If you weren't cute.
No, then people weren't.
No, I mean like Billy Zabka, who completely played an asshole in Karate Kid and anything else he was ever in, but he's hot as hell. You're like, come be mean to me, Billy Zabka, please.
No, thank you. I'm sorry. That's the one I'm not here for.
Okay, anyway.
We're going to move on.
We are going to move on.
We're going to move on. I'm going to switch gears and not go so popular. Not going to, I'm just going to throw you for a loop here.
Ooh.
Lynn Whitfield, who's an amazing actress.
Amazing.
She was in this movie. I think it might have been an HBO original for all I know, but it was called The Josephine Baker Story.
It was.
And it was an amazing movie because it was like, it taught me about Josephine Baker. People wouldn't really know about her now, but, she was this amazing dancer and singer who grew up here in America and had a hard time. And so she went over to France and she just lived a really crazy, insane life. She was part of the resistance at one point. She adopted a ton of children. She had all these different lovers. I mean, she wasn't necessarily the best person overall, but she had a lot of heart and she just was really pushed a lot of boundaries and just wanted to make a better life for herself. And you know what I mean? You got to admire somebody that was like, okay, if this is what America's about, then, and they love us overseas, then that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? I'm going where the love is and where I can have my career.
I mean, that's definitely a showing of Euro versus American culture. They will embrace Black people and fame and fortune a lot easier than we did here back in the day. But yeah, Lynn Whitfield was amazing in that. So I know that you try to take us into the 90s, but I can't.
Okay, I know. You're moving back.
I'm moving back to 1986. And if anybody listened to the radio show before, I had this big old discussion about Modern Girls before. But Modern Girls is my favorite movies of all time. It's a movie that I would say a mass of the population has never seen. I think that somebody watched this movie and then had the idea for Sex and the City. I think that a lot of things were created after this movie that did not give it credit, but it's Daphne Zuniga in this movie. Now, if you've seen Spaceballs, Daphne Zuniga is the Jewish princess, but she plays Margot, and typically anybody named Margot, I'm down for. So Margot Kidder, Margot in Modern Girls, Margot. I've been watching the show The Magicians, and I am down for that Margot too. But Daphne Zuniga, there's 3 women: Cynthia Gibb, Virginia Madsen, and Daphne Zuniga. They play 3 women living together in LA who are in the LA nightlife scene, late night scene. And they're all 3 single women living together, and they all have different personalities. Cece is the fun one. Virginia Madsen, who plays Kelly, is the beautiful one. And Margot, who is played by Daphne Zuniga, is the bitchy one.
Okay.
So I was down for her.
Of course.
And she wears like an all leather like suit with like black leather with these blue velvet looking gloves. So her attitude in the movie is fuck love, fuck love, fuck love. I'm in love.
That's the way it happens.
And that's everything to me. So that's Daphne Zuniga.
Okay.
She later went on to Melrose Place, which I loved her on there. She played Jo, the photographer.
Yes.
Okay, so love me Daphne Zuniga.
Who doesn't? All right, my next one is Angela Bassett playing Angela Bassett
in every
movie with Angela Bassett, but no, specifically Waiting to Exhale.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's one of the first really big ones. You know what I mean? Like that has it's got a reference everybody at this point knows. A lot of people who haven't even seen Waiting to Exhale know about Angela Bassett burning a man's shit in her yard. You know what I mean? When the breakup happens, when he does her wrong. And then chopping off her hair, which is, I'm just going to say, like, I don't know if it extends beyond Black women, but that is a thing. When you are in some kind of emotional crisis,
no, yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you just start chopping all your hair off, changing colors, doing all of that. So, I got to love how real her character was. Her character was devastated, and then her character got real fucking angry. Like, I'm going to take every shit you left. I'm going to burn it. She's talking to herself. She's smoking furiously. I love it. I'm here for all of that.
And Angela Bassett is a complete badass, like from beginning to end. There's never a time when Angela Bassett is not Angela Bassett. And I don't believe that Angela Bassett is ever anything other than Angela Bassett. I don't believe there's a time when someone's handed her a basket of kittens and she's completely gone, ooh, I love these kittens. Like, I think that Angela Bassett would say, oh, kittens, nice, but I'm interested in this over here. So I don't know. There's never a time when she's not herself, I think.
I want to live in the world where that's true, so I'm willing to agree with you. I will co-sign that statement.
Okay, so I have another 80s person.
Yeah, of course.
So it's Amy Steele. Amy Steele is an actress from mostly in the 80s. She did some 90s stuff, but she's in 2 of my favorite movies, one being Friday the 13th Part 2. Mm-hmm. She is Ginny, the one who survives. Sorry if it's a spoiler. And then she is also in April Fool's Day, which is another kind of underground horror movie that people don't love, and she's also amazing in that. So she's one of those people that kind of embodies the survivor girl. Mm-hmm. Okay. She's a little, she's blonde, but she's not necessarily a bimbo. She's more of the sporty girl, so she's good for running long distance from murderers.
Okay.
She's more athletic looking, I think, and she's not like a typical like.
I know. I just looked her up.
Yeah.
I know her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not like a typical like Hollywood actress. Mm-hmm. So you don't, I don't know. She's not the typical run of the mill girl in horror movies. I feel, and so that's why I like Amy Steele a lot. And she's a really down to earth person. I met her too, and she's a really sweet, nice person.
All right, so now I'm about to jump in. I'm about to sneak in 2 on you really fast.
Ooh, are they twins?
They're not twins. They're not even related at all, but I'm just basically saying that I'm taking over, is what's happening. I'm going to do the opposite of men. So anyways.
Never smoke.
So, okay. Number 1, Michelle Yeoh from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Ooh, yes.
Yes. And I also love Zhang Ziyi. I have to say that. She changed her name to Ziyi Zhang to be more Americanized. But anyways, I love her in general, but I don't love her in that movie because she's like a little snot. But Michelle Yeoh, she's badass. She knows how to, do her martial arts. She can use weapons. And it's one of the first martial arts films where a woman really gets to shine like that I will say that crossed over to America. I'm not going to say what they did in Asia. There's probably other examples.
Yes.
But it's one of the first ones that came over here where she's like so big, so badass. She's the one. So that's all I have to say about her. And then I'm giving you Holly Hunter in Copycat, which I know is a movie you love.
Yes, love that movie. Love Holly Hunter.
Not in the 80s, but
in the 90s.
In the 90s.
Barely 90s, yeah.
So this is another one where Holly Hunter is playing Holly Hunter.
Obviously.
Because what else
She's
is
wearing jeans throughout the whole movie.
Ooh, what else
at
is she
least.
going to do but
Dress
play
pants,
herself?
probably.
Yes, yeah. You know what I mean? She's being a badass. She's the detective in charge and all that kind of thing. And you got to love Sigourney Weaver's in it. The
Right.
two of them together is really wonderful. But her character is the one that's more like in control and trying to figure things out and hold it all together while, of course, secretly in love with her partner at work. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing.
Well, it has to have that. If they didn't have a woman in love with somebody, then
It can't exist.
Then it can't exist.
Yeah.
Like, women have to be in love.
They do.
Unfortunately.
Because otherwise it's like, and especially at that time still, it's like if you weren't in love with somebody secretly, then it's like, then her character would have been a lesbian and we can't have that. So,
True,
Mm-hmm.
because her character could easily been a lesbian in that movie.
Yeah. So
But,
I'm
I
sure-
mean, all women could easily be lesbians
Okay.
because you have to be a woman to be a lesbian.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's just like you just drop so much knowledge here.
That's what I do.
That's what you do.
Hmm
Anyways.
Anyway, so
you
Holly
have-
Hunter, yeah, amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say. I just wanted to get my 2 in, and now if you still have time.
Oh,
then-
I still have time. I'll always have time.
I know, you'll always make time.
I'll make time for myself because that's what I do. So I'm going to take you to a little movie that you like.
Okay.
Brigitte Nielsen
Yes.
and Red Sonja.
Yes. Yes.
The movie is a little different. In the comic book, Red Sonja is raped and then is on a warpath to kill the person who raped her.
Okay.
And she does that by having sex with a lot of people and killing them. So it's a little different in the movie, but it's Brigitte Nielsen before
It's just a badass anyway.
a badass. I mean, literally,
Just
she's.
always.
I don't even know how tall she is, but she's taller than any woman ever born.
Yeah,
And she just
exactly.
has that icy, I don't know, Eastern European, East Germany, Russian spy look to her and everything. And I think they played that up a lot.
Yeah.
But-
Didn't she play Russian every time she played somebody?
Almost.
Like pretty much.
Yeah, I think Red Sonja was technically Babylonian.
Okay.
But
Excuse me.
and she had red hair in that one, which is a horrible wig. But yeah, Red Sonja for the
Yeah.
sword win.
For the sword win.
Yeah, and she was a little lesbianic, a little you didn't know. She didn't need a man.
Yeah.
And you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was not playing Conan, even though he had made 2 Conan movies almost exactly the same as Red Sonja.
Right. He was changing it up,
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know.
sort of.
Not
He
really.
had shorter hair, but not short hair. Anyway, but yeah, so Brigitte Nielsen before the Flavor Flav debacle of the 2000s.
I think I've erased that from my memory. So, anyways,
We have time for one small one.
One
Do you have
small
anybody
one?
else?
I do have somebody else. I now give you Sigourney Weaver in the Aliens series
Ooh,
because
Ripley. You can't
Ripley.
go wrong without Ripley.
What are you gonna do? And especially when Ripley shaved her head, even though that wasn't the best of the movies.
3.
Yeah, three's not amazing.
No.
but I will still watch it.
Yeah.
And remember that to be beautiful and natural is the birthright of every woman. And I wish you all loads and loads of loveliness and good luck.